you're working out a ton, but you're looking fluffier and fluffier each year and you're not sure why, you might need to do something that I did called reverse dieting. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Here we go.
Did you know eating too little can actually make you fatter? No, it's totally true. There's many reasons why eating too little will actually cause you to be fatter than you are now. The first thing to understand with this is fatter doesn't necessarily mean heavier. And I want to say that because you can lose weight and actually become fatter as a percentage of your body weight.
I started my bulking journey in November of 2022. It was a time when I realized that I was working really, really hard to stay lean, and I had to do very extreme things to do it. I had been eating 2 meals a day for about 5 years. Sometimes I would do 1 meal a day or fast for 36 hours. All those things were really healthy for reversing my insulin resistance while following a low carb, low glycemic, sometimes ketogenic diet. However, what I didn't realize was that my body was very adapted to super low calories. If I remotely ate more, it would stick to me like glue. There was a period where I injured myself, where I was a bit more sedentary than normal. I definitely wasn't doing strength training, and I could only do Pilates, which was very rehabilitatory. And so by the time I got to this place of why do I work so hard and my body composition doesn't look like I'm very lean, I reached out to my friend Robert Sykes, who's a pro bodybuilder, also in the low carb space. He's a dear friend, and I had seen some of his client results, which were absolutely phenomenal, and I asked him to help me. So what he explained to me was that I needed to reverse diet while focusing on solely strength training instead of all the cardio that my body was used to. Years of CrossFit, years of training for triathlon, years of cardio type movements, F45, things like that. So, and I love high intensity interval training. I love a good sweat, but the truth is I really, really, really wanted to change my physique. And being a nutritionist, being in the nutrition space, there's also, a pressure to look a certain way and a desire to look a certain way. So not just be healthy on the inside, but look healthy and fit on the outside too. So I began my reverse diet journey, and nobody wants to gain weight.
Getting a client, female client that would come in and tell me, Adam, I want to lean out or look a certain way. And I assess their diet, I assess what's going on with them, and almost always what I want to do is increase calories and focus on gaining and quote unquote bulking, and that just scares the shit out of all of them. And it would be quite the process, even as a professional, right? She's coming to me, hiring me. I'm supposed to be the professional.
And so that is something that we're always having to address, with new clients coming in and having these type of goals.
When they really, really want to lose body fat and look leaner. But I was metabolically in a very, very bad place, eating probably on average for many years, 1,100 calories, maybe less sometimes. And I definitely didn't look it. It didn't look like I ate that little. So a lot of ladies, a lot of my clients too, once I ask them to track how much they're eating, they're not eating that much. So Robert put me right at 2,000 calories, right out of the gate. And I gained 3 pounds almost overnight. But I maintained the 3-pound weight gain at 2,000 for about a month. And I started weight training. I was strength training, started focusing on compound lifts, the squat, the bench press, and deadlift. Also some overhead press work, working my shoulders. So what happened a month in is really, really interesting. I got really, really hungry all of a sudden. I'd stopped all cardio, so it wasn't from extra cardio training. It was just that suddenly, metabolically, appetite really came back online. And now that I was tracking everything, I started having 2,300, 2,400, 2,500, 2,800, and 3,000 calorie days. Almost, I couldn't control it. And I kept it low carb. My ceiling was 50 grams of carbohydrate, which is not technically considered ketogenic, although there were days when I was in ketosis. But some of those days, oh man, 3,000, I had a peak moment. This appetite, this crazy appetite lasted for about a month, and I was all over the place. So I didn't reverse diet properly. I actually was inspired by Stephanie Buttermore's All In videos where her appetite signaling was really out of whack.
So extreme hunger is not your normal, I had a late lunch so I'm hangry kind of hunger. No. Extreme hunger is a clearly defined phenomenon that you feel like you could just eat and eat and eat without ever wanting or ever feeling like you need to stop.
That's so good.
Like true bottomless pit hunger, like no sense of feeling full, like you've even forgotten what it feels like to feel full.
I figured that at some point it was just going to regulate. But boy, did those pounds just pack themselves on. And I watched my weight steadily increase all the way up to 163 pounds.
I don't feel good. I don't look good. I don't fit in my clothes. I am 20 pounds heavier. 20 pounds is a lot of weight. According to DEXA, only 5 or 6 of that is muscle. So
yeah, totally. Like I understand and can relate with you 1,000% because I literally did that exact same thing for my first competition prep. But the beauty of it is you have that perspective now. You know what you don't want to do again. And the beauty of it is like if you cycle through a building phase properly and you put on extra muscle tissue, you increase your metabolic rate, you increase your BMR, you increase the homeostatic set point to a higher level of caloric intake at a leaner composition, and then you healthfully go through a cutting phase and then a healthy transition back into that building phase. Every single time you cycle through those different phases, you improve your body's starting and stopping point. So it gets easier and easier and it gets better and better. And basically what happens over time is you continue to add more and more lean tissue and you continue to improve your homeostatic set point so that it becomes more and more effortless for you to maintain a composition that you are confident with and enjoy living at, even in the off season when you're not trying to necessarily lose body fat. So you only have things to gain basically going forward. And it sucks right now where you're at because like you're at the pinnacle of the worst part of it, but it will only get better. And where you're at now, honestly, is better than where you were a year ago in chronically under eating, because that's certainly not boding well for you either certainly from a lean mass building standpoint or from a lean mass retention standpoint. As you age, it becomes much easier to lose muscle if you're not working to keep that muscle. And if you're only eating less than 1,000 calories, it's become incredibly hard for you to maintain that muscle tissue. So it's better to eat more, train more, and preserve that tissue, because that is like the longevity organ, as they like to say.
I have put on 7 pounds of muscle and about 13 pounds of fat. Fortunately, I've somewhat retained my same body shape. I am getting noticeably stronger. My lifts with my squat was kind of finally coming along. My squat has jumped from like 95 pounds up to 155 pounds. My deadlift jumped from 125 pounds all the way up to 205 pounds in a relatively short amount of time. While I really can't fit into almost any of my clothes, in fact,
I'm so big
jeans I'm
that
wearing
I split my
getting harder and harder to buy, and I'm looking forward to shedding the extra fat that I'm gaining. I am enjoying getting stronger because I know that muscle will increase my metabolic rate and it will help me burn calories while I'm sitting down, while I'm working, while I'm just doing nothing, kind of like earning passive income while sleeping. And in the meantime, I've gotten used to eating 3 meals a day again and being a little bit more flexible with the foods that I am eating and not so rigid and have to watch every single little thing that goes through my mouth. That being said, I think it's better to keep it low carb, especially if you have blood sugar issues, if your insulin sensitivity isn't where it needs to be. I found myself pre-diabetic at the age of 40, so I need to be very mindful of my carbohydrate intake. And well, refined carbohydrates like pasta and bread and rice, well, they're my favorites, but I really can't eat those foods. I am enjoying colorful vegetables, some fruits, and sticking to high protein, help build the muscle. I'm not genetically gifted in any sort of way. I have the ACTN3 gene that makes me a hard gainer. It makes it very hard to put on muscle. It makes it a little more likely that I'm going to have inflammation and have a harder time recovering.
If you have the XX variant, also known as the hard gainer gene, then you might want to focus on getting stronger instead of getting bigger and maximizing the neural adaptations. As it relates to intensity and volume, since hard gainers don't tolerate lifting heavy too well, you can increase the volume as long as you don't go too heavy, which in this case is anything under 6 reps. If you wanted to do an extended set, then a variation of MA reps where you do mini sets of 2 after reaching failure would be the way to go. As it relates to building muscle, since hard gainers are more prone to muscle damage and soreness and take longer to recover, you want to minimize damage but maximize lactic acid accumulation and increase growth factor release, which you can do by pumping the muscles with bands or cables for 20 to 25 minutes, which also happens to be an effective way to speed up recovery, which is something you might want to do since hard gainers take longer to recover.
I encourage folks who are reverse dieting and putting a lot of focus on recompositioning their body, and they really sore all the time like I am, to get a massage, take hot baths or like a cold at the end of 30 seconds of cold at the end of the shower, and to mitigate inflammation, maybe with topical magnesium cream, taking turmeric, lots of stretching, lots of mobility work, maybe work with a good chiropractor, anything to help you recover so that you don't get injured, because an injury is gonna totally take you out of the game. This is my 4 months in to reverse diet, build strength, with the ultimate goal of complete recompositioning, leaving me in a much better situation as I enter my 50s.